for my country context analysis, I'll be focusing on my host country, South America, and water management as well as sustainability, with a specific connection to Sao Paulo, Brazil. This brings me to part one, which is the national context of South America. South America is the fourth largest continent in the world and is home to around 440 million people. Over the past several decades, the region has experienced rapid urbanization, with nearly 80% of the population now living in cities. And this is mostly the information that I found was mostly on Britannica, which is a very helpful source, and it brought me like the facts of South America, and it was really helpful throughout the research process as well. Now, historically, South America was colonized primarily by Spain and Portugal beginning in the 16th century, which led to extractive economies that prioritized land and labor over long-term infrastructure development. Now, indigenous populations were displaced and marginalized, and many of these historical inequalities continue to shape social and political conditions that occur today all throughout South America. On a political standpoint, there are many South American countries that transitioned to democratic governments in the late 20th century. However, recent protests across countries like Chile, Colombia, and Peru show ongoing public concern about inequality, inflation, and access to essential resources. These are issues that are connected specifically to the governments of those countries in South America. And the government is a huge contributor, as there are situations where laws are needed in order for action to be taken, which is a huge deal in South America. Is the social issue that is pretty much determined throughout this fellowship. In this case, the primary social issue I am focusing on is sustainable water management, which is a major area of work for Mackenzie Presbyterian University, located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And this is also the place where I will be headed to this summer and performing, extensive research and following this immersion plan. Super excited. But anyways, large urban centers in South America, especially for Sao Paulo, face challenges related to water access, pollution, and aging infrastructure. This brings it to the key stakeholders and causes that occur within this complex. And key stakeholders include urban residents, engineers and researchers, water utilities, and environmental organizations. The underlying causes of this issue specifically include rapid urban growth, which equals a higher water demand, industrial pollution, climate variability, and long-term underinvestment in infrastructure. So this can tie specifically towards low funding, which again brings up that political context where governments should be able to provide more funding for advanced infrastructure in water management. And so this is very important because it brings me back to my own personal exposure and the historical context. And through my own experiences with environmental research, such as water sustainability work related to Lake Michigan back in Wisconsin and agricultural sustainability, I've seen how closely environmental systems are tied to community well-being, because you see it at not only a local level, like for me, it was like at a Wisconsin rural setting, but also at an international setting in Hyderabad, India, which is a large city that also has agricultural research and opportunities for things like water management as well. So seeing that connection really helps, and mentor connections with environmental research is huge. And that's a really big deal, and it really is a huge message for me as well. This brings me back to part three and the final segment, which is South America and water management tying together. So South America's historical and political context directly intersects with water sustainability challenges today. And rapid urbanization, as mentioned before, has placed significant strain on water treatment and distribution system, while uneven public investment has limited long-term planning. Cities like Sao Paulo, Lima, and Santiago experience high water demand due to dense population and aging infrastructure, as this reduces system efficiency within water quality. And then in this context, engineer based solutions play a huge role, and programs at Mackenzie Presbyterian University address these challenges by combining technical research with real world applications. These types of experiences include visits to water treatment plants and sustainability focused case studies. The efforts also are important because they support how water management is not only a technical issue within South America, but also social and environmental one shaped by history, policy, and population growth. And this is certainly a huge, huge issue and concern that I hope to learn more about as I take this journey on. And with that, I'd love to close this off by thinking that it's very important to understand South America's historical and political context, and it explains why water sustainability remains as a pressing issue today. For me as well, I think it is good to understand this at once again a political, historical, and current issue. I think it's also important to gain that knowledge and to spread that knowledge across to um, the people I meet at Mackenzie and also people I meet at Rice as well, and expanding that research. It's genuinely a huge important. It's an important project to have, and it's essential once again for creating more equitable and resilient urban communities for South America as a whole. And with that, I'd like to thank you for listening. These are my sources in APA format, and appreciate your time.